I want to segue into the second topic, and this is an exciting one, and this is where we involve the chat here, folks, because a show for many gamers on this panel and many gamers in the chat right now, it doesn't matter what show it is. It could be Keely's show, it could be the Xbox show, it could be the Nintendo Direct that's happening that weekend now, it could be the games future showcase, the future game showcase, it could be the PC game show, whatever show you are excited to see. It usually is, for you as the fan, that one game that you just either you saw more footage of it, you got a gameplay reveal that blew your mind, or it's something that you didn't see coming and boom, it just punched you in the face and you're like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, I want to know, chat, what one game that is for you. What is the one game that it has to be there that will be the 12 out of 10 rating that you give this show? And I'm going to go right back to Infinite Number. Infinite Number, what is that one game for you?
Man, let me think. What could that be? Not announced, brand new maybe, or at least a continuation of something. Been waiting on it for a long time, Xbox wise. I'll tell you, music said Unreal Tournament. No, I don't. That Twitch so with that game move, I told you, I feel like I got arthritis in the wrist or something playing or something like that. My eyeballs can't keep up. I almost feel like if they could get, we've been waiting for Splinter Cell for so long, and I always tie that back to the OG Xbox. That will be something, but I guess I want to stick to something that's first party.
Okay.
Something that's first party. What could it be? What could I use for this? Knowing me, anything Halo bound would get me, especially if we saw some gameplay for the reboot, or at least the remake of Halo.
So you're saying an Unreal Engine 5 remake of Combat Evolved. Of course, it's Unreal Engine 5. Hello, folks. You should have guessed that already.
I guess, yeah. My bias got me at the end of the day anyway. Unreal has to come into play. So yeah, if I saw Halo, for me, for sure, if I saw Halo in the Unreal 5 for the remake or whatever they're doing, that would definitely get it for me. I know I'll be like, I'll be screaming and watching it. So I can only say that for me. I think for everybody else, though, it'll have to be something else. I don't know if that would do it for everybody. You know what? Let me think on it too, and I'll see if I can come up with something else.
You know what? Let's do this, to be fair, because it's a bit of an unfair question, chat. And obviously the panel knew what the question was because I had sent the show notes. But let's do this. Let's pick a main and a secondary, so it gives you some wiggle room a little bit. But Jamie Moran, let's go to you. What are for you as the gamer we're talking about? You know, the spotlight's on you. What's your A and B picks that must be at this show to give it a 12 out of 10?
Maybe I'm this is copium and a little bit of hopium. I need to see Lost Odyssey 2.
Dude, that's a great pick, man. Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, I've been wanting a sequel to that for over a bloody decade.
You just tweeted about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I love Lost Odyssey, and for people that have never played it,
I mean, so good. What a great RPG, dude. Yeah. Like, a lot of people didn't play that. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible. And like, if people like Expedition 33, try out Lost Odyssey.
Yeah,
it's incredible. But honestly, like, yeah, Lost Odyssey 2, like, or like some sort of spiritual successor, because like Microsoft had they had 2 exclusive JRPGs on the 360, really 2. You know, that and Blue Dragon, and people love both of them. But Lost Odyssey for me was like something else, you know. And the other game, I'd actually have to say Prototype. We don't have a lot of games like that on Xbox. I think a lot of people would love it. And honestly, Prototype was just so much fun because you weren't really a hero and you weren't really an anti-hero. You just causing a path of destruction in open world New York, and it was so much fun. I think something like that and like new hardware, it would be crazy. And I think especially with Microsoft having Activision now, and they've hinted that they want to do a new Prototype game. I think we could see maybe a teaser or something. But yeah, Lost Odyssey 2 and Prototype 3. I think one of those could actually happen. I think Prototype's more likely, but for me, Lost
Well,
Odyssey 2 and Prototype.
they tested it, right? Like, didn't they have like
Yeah.
something that came out? Like somebody signed an NDA and broke the NDA and said they were asked some questions. They filled out a survey regarding
Yeah.
specifically
Yeah.
Prototype.
Yeah,
So,
it was one of the Activision Call of Duty leaks, and apparently this person had been asked some things about Prototype. And if I was Microsoft, when you first purchased them, that would be one of the franchises I would get on because, like I said, there aren't really many games like that on Xbox. No big, massive open world first party superhero games. This would fill in that void. I will throw a third one in there. I do, and this is a third party game, but I'm still going to throw it in. Splinter Cell.
okay. I mean, listen, I've been wrong for the last 8 or 9 years, maybe even 10 years about Splinter Cell being and a potential exclusive.
Yeah,
Could you imagine if they bought it though? Like if they come out and said, "Hey, listen, Splinter Cell joining Xbox Game Studios." I mean, it's going to be multi-plat. Who cares? But could you imagine if they, were one of the people that shop? Because we heard that Ubisoft was shopping some of their IPs around.
Yeah,
Big,
when that rumor came out that Ubisoft was shopping around IP, I put that out literally immediately on Twitter. I was like, I want Microsoft to get Splinter Cell because they bloody aren't doing anything with Splinter Cell. So let someone else do it. And that remake, I'm doing air quotes because people can't see me. I don't believe that remake is real until I see it in action.
I agree.
I want to see Splinter Cell there. Microsoft's always had this strong relationship with Ubisoft and Splinter Cell. Hell, Splinter Cell Conviction is exclusive to 360. So like, I need Splinter Cell there. I want the lights to go dark, and I want those three, night vision goggles lights to
now
come
we're
on screen,
talking.
and have Michael Ironside talking like that. That's the dream. And a lot of Splinter Cell fans, we've been waiting like 12 years since the last game.
It's great, dude.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, think again. No one really knows. Like, you never really equate how long it's been until someone that's like Jamie says it. Not only has it been 12 years, Splinter Cell has missed now 2 generations of releasing a game. How freaking crazy is that?
Yeah, it's crazy, and it annoys me even more because the remake we're getting, and I'm sure everyone that's listening has played the original Splinter Cell. The original Splinter Cell isn't a massive game. It's a linear game with small focus levels.
Yes.
So what's taken them 5 bloody years to remake this game? Right?
I have no idea.
At this rate, I want to see I want to see the pause on Sam Fisher's face, right? I want to see super detailed graphics. I need this thing to blow my mind hole because honestly, at this rate, I don't believe it exists. Ubisoft's they have a bunch of problems anyway. But yeah, for me, it's Lost Odyssey, Prototype, and Splinter Cell.
I love it. So you know what, Umber? We're gonna open up the space a little while. We're gonna give you your first pick, Halo. Awesome. Let's get 2 more picks, and then I'm gonna read some of the chat's picks. Some of the chat's picks here are freaking awesome. So again, what would be 2 additional picks for you that make this show 12 out of 10?
Well, okay, Jamie, I like the one with Lost Odyssey. I was listening to that. I never played Lost Odyssey.
Oh,
bro, you would love that game. Oh my god, it's so freaking good.
But I've heard people compare it. Expedition 33 saying it has certain elements of it, and I'm like, oh, I missed out then. So I do want to go back and play that now. So maybe that would be dope. What's up, Ginger Prime? What's up, brother?
Hey, Ginger Prime. Salute, sir.
Yeah, shout out to Ginger. That would be dope to actually, if they did remake that or remaster it, that would be nice. I agree with you on that one. I'm trying to think of things outside. I'm trying to think of something that's kind of like outside of what we know or what we would expect to be named. And I guess it would have to be newer games. We do still have to see the Wu-Tang game that's big.
Oh, yes. That's a great pick, dude.
So that would be another one. And I'm trying to think of one other one. I don't want to be cheap on how I think about it. I'm really trying to think. I already mentioned Splinter Cell. What could it be? What could it be? Double Fine.
That's a good pick, man, because they've been working on something for a while. Actually, I think they're working on multiple games, if I'm not mistaken. So
they are, right? And and it could be. Well, you know what? I'll throw out even I'll throw out one. I'll throw out one. Then a fantasy pick as far as that. Ori and the Blind Forest 3.
Holy crap, that would be big. Yeah.
Moon Studios, they were talking about it recently. Before they were kind of like, that's the end, part 2. Well, they talked to them recently, Thomas Mailer and all of them, and I think they're more open to the idea of a sequel now.
Well, that's because it's going to be multi-plat, right? Like, and plus the studio's in a bit of a pickle. Like, there was some talk that if they, again, I don't know if this was true or they were being, facetious, but they're like, hey, we keep getting negative reviews on that game that they're working on that's in early access, and it keeps getting better reviews. We're gonna have to close the studio.
Right?
Oh, that would suck.
Since he did that, he had people they started giving giving a likes up. So now I think it's rated at very positive.
Okay, excellent.
So yeah, that was weird, by the way, with him and trying to I guess shade Jazz. I'm like, how? Like, what did Jazz say that was wrong? But whatever. I do like No Rest for the Wicked, but I have to wait for the complete game before I jump back into that. But that said, yeah, I would say maybe Moon Studios with Ori and the Blind Forest 3. If that was announced, or at least announced, they don't have to show anything. They just show a little Ori light up or something in the tree or something.
Yeah, they could show a title screen. You know what I'm saying?
If they show a title screen, that would do it exactly. So that would be my 2 right there. Yeah, and I'll throw this one out there just as a give me, but Jamie mentioned Lost Odyssey. One of the games Miss Walker did was also Blue Dragon. So
yeah,
maybe they could do the Blue Dragon remake or something like that. Although Blue Dragon, I think the visuals it kind of stands the test of time the way because it's so stylistic. But that's a give me. That's not my real pick. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe they could do both. But that would be my 2 extra additional ones. I think if Ori 3 was announced, it would blow up. Like everybody online would go crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Again, there's some announcements that transcend just to showcase itself. That would be one of the big ones, at least for me. I think that would be a massive announcement, even if it's just simply a flash trailer where it's just a title screen or some animation of Ori, just like floating around. It's because Ori's, when you look at Ori as the character, it lights up, and it could literally just kind of dance over, part 3 and just show a title screen. Everyone would be, cheering in the audience, and everyone would be excited for it.
And listen, the first 2 games we got from them, the first game,
they're masterclass level releases, bro. They're perfect. So
you have perfect reason to be hyped for 3. I think some people felt like 2 ended on a sour note anyway.
Yeah,
played it. So I think people want to have more of they want to kind of have a trilogy to complete the story anyway. And then couple that with both games being so well revered, some seen as a masterpiece. I still think they both are. Yeah, that's a high bar, and I think that would definitely do it. Moon is, and I agree with Ginger there. They are top tier developers, so I would
100%.